Welcome to the Leisure Room. I'm Celeste,
And I'm Thomas.
and this is a brand new podcast series that we are using in promotion for our 2026 campaign called Racing Awareness. And we're going to talk about
All the crazy endeavors that we will endure during this year.
Yeah.
A little bit of our backstory and how we lost our daughter, and then how we're gonna channel that grief into positive change for 2026.
Love that. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, so a little backstory about ourselves, I would say. We met about 8 years ago now.
Is it 8 or 9?
It's in 2017.
2017. It's
So that's coming up.
coming up 9. Okay.
We just had to wait.
Wow. Crazy.
Right, back in South Africa
Yes.
during the safari.
That's a pretty fun story
Yeah.
that we won't get into now, but
Yeah, so I'm originally from Belgium. So hello to all my Belgian friends. And you're American.
I am. I know that sounds so boring when people ask you like, "Oh, I hear the accent. Where are you from?" And like Belgium, and then they turn to me and like, "And you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, just here, the States."
Well, if you live in the States, it's not as crazy.
Right.
You were to go to Belgium and you say from the States, then
it's
story.
Anyway, so of those 8+ years, we've been married 4, coming up on 4. Yes, that's a very exciting milestone. And in August of last year, 2025, we were expecting our first baby.
Yes.
But sadly, when I was 40 weeks, one day, her heartbeat suddenly stopped.
Yeah, that's a turn.
Yeah. I mean, completely unexpected, too. I mean, we were there. We really felt like we made it to the end, you know? I feel like there are worries earlier on in pregnancy about losing the baby, but I felt like at our point,
You don't expect
you
it.
don't expect it.
So, yeah, backstory. So 40 weeks, one day, August 15th. In the afternoon, you told me that you just felt something was off.
Yeah, it is the weirdest feeling that I had because the whole day was fine. Then even the night before, like going to bed, she was having her dance party in there like she did every night. The next morning I woke up and we had breakfast. You went off to work. I was feeling really tired and I was like, you know what? I could go into labor any day. I should make sure I'm well rested. So I laid down and I took a nap that morning, which is very unlike me anyway. But I felt her moving before I lay down for a nap and fell asleep with my hand on my belly, feeling her kick. Woke up, had lunch. She was moving around. She had the hiccups. And then at one point, I was doing something, laundry or something, and I just had this weird feeling come over me. And I was like, something's not right. It was just a feeling that was like, you got to get her to move. You know, it was like this prompt of like, I need to get her to move, even though it had only been like maybe an hour.
But sometimes you just gotta do that.
Yeah. And I mean, I would always do that anyway, just like randomly or at work or something. I'd be like, okay, come on. I just want to feel you kick, but this just felt different. And even in the moments of trying to get her to move, like I would take a spoonful of Nutella and I was getting into different positions, but I was so anxious for some reason that I couldn't sit still long enough to even give these methods a chance to get her to move like I did before. Sometimes it would take 30, 40 minutes to get her to move. And this, I mean, I just couldn't sit still. Like I just knew something wasn't right. And that's when I called you and told you I was going to the ER.
Yeah. That was a very weird drive to the ER.
Yeah, how did you feel on that drive? Because you were coming from work.
Yeah. Obviously, I wasn't expecting the worst, but part of me, based on the phone call and the vibe I was getting from you, was like, this doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
It's a small part of me that was like, what if though? And then when I came in the hospital, you were bawling because They did the first round of ultrasounds, and there was no heartbeat.
Yeah, that was just a Doppler
Oh, that was just a
before.
Doppler,
Yeah.
and then the
You
baby
had,
came after.
and it wasn't even long. Like I got to the ER, and of course, even the whole drive, like I can't feel her. I was like, not feeling her move, thinking like when I left, I was like, I'll feel her move on the drive there, just like she's just
Right.
stubborn. I get there and I tell them what's going on. They get me into a room and they asked how long it had been since I last felt her. And I was like, I mean, an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I guess probably more around 2 hours. And they were doing the Doppler just to find the heartbeat. And I thought for sure like they were going to find it. I still felt like something was wrong, but I didn't think like there would be no heartbeat. And so they had been trying for like maybe like 30, 40 seconds when you walked in. And
Mm.
that's when I was just like, I remember you asking, like, are you okay? And I was like, no, they can't find the heartbeat. And I think I kind of knew when she put it on and it wasn't there right away because, and even
Usually,
I had my appointment 2 days prior and they put it right there and immediately, like, you heard the heartbeat.
not something that you can miss in a belly.
No.
So from there, we got the confirmation, no heartbeat. Um, that was that was the weirdest that I've ever felt because your entire world that you've been building up, anticipation, everything else that you're like, okay, we can't travel anymore. We have to take care of a baby. We gotta do all these things. We have to make sure we don't leave out anything in the house. Just preparing for a baby. And then in that split second, it's as if you can see the towers like starting to yeah to fall apart and stuff coming down on you. And so we after that we went to your family, break the news quite literally.
Yeah, they gave us an option. They gave us options. They said that we could stay. They said we could leave and come back later that night, or we could leave and come back the next day for an induction.
So we decided to leave and come back the same evening
Yeah,
and then introduce you.
right. Yeah, we wanted to at least go to my mom and sisters because they were in town and tell them what happened.
But it wasn't long after that you started to have contractions.
Yeah, while we were at my mom's.
So
So I ended up not getting induced and we ended up going back pretty quickly after.
yeah, not even an hour and a half, I would say.
Yeah. And my contractions started fast, like every 3 minutes.
Yeah, I think your body sensed it and stuff.
That's what the doctors thought too.
And then, well, so he was the thought. Even though we just had that news like an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, in my at least in my head there was this quick what is it button that switched and was like, okay, we need to finish this adventure. We need to finish this story. And so even the nurses were like, we can do a C-section. We can get this over with. And I'm like, no. We had this birth plan. We've been working on this plan for a couple months. Let's just still do it. The baby is 40 weeks one day, fully grown. Let's get it. Let's get it out of you in the way we anticipated it. And so that's what we end up doing.
Well, initially, even in the ER, you did say you were like, I am supportive of whatever you want, whatever you decide on how you want to do this. But leaving, or maybe it was coming back or whatever it was, you did say, like, we can still make this a positive birth experience in labor. And that for me was really encouraging because I was like, you know what? Yes, you're right. We can. And I really did want to still stick to the birth plan. It's just, yeah, hard.
Yeah, but somehow when we arrived in the hospital again and you were in the bath and you were having your contractions and you were starting labor, it's uh, it's as if a pre-programmed part of my brain was like, all right, birth. Never experienced it. I know what I'm doing. Oh, like, okay. So many people before us have done this. We can do this.
I mean, it was a great experience, even for me, going through it.
You hear it here.
But you were a big reason because of that. I mean, you did great
Thank you.
in helping me. I would not have wanted to do that without the support that I had from you.
Right. And then after, because we were by ourselves for the first 3 hours
Yeah.
before the nurses and the doctor came in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess that moment was really bonding
Yeah.
to an extent.
It was. Yeah. They got the bath ready for us, and we spent
And we sat
time
in
in
the
the bath.
room, got candles and twinkle lights going on.
We did. Yeah.
Well, electric candles.
And some lavender oil.
Yeah, it really made it a nice,
It did. Yeah. It
especially in
was
the
great.
beginning when the contractions are a little apart and then you can still enjoy rest in between them.
Right.
Um, but then so you moved from the bath onto the ball,
Yes. And that,
which helped.
yeah, in that moment, yeah. I mean, things just started getting intense. I just knew I needed to get out of the bath. And that's when the nurse also came in. I think she was in there the rest of the time. Was she not?
In
For
and out, I
most
guess.
in and out. But our nurse was great too, because even when we got admitted and she was doing my IV, she asked if I was gonna get an epidural. And I said, I wasn't planning on it. And she's like, then you're not, then you don't. She's like, stick to your birth plan. So she was very encouraging of us sticking to what we wanted all along too.
Didn't last too long. I think overall the entire birth or delivery was 5 hours.
Something like that, yeah.
It was definitely an adventure.
It was, yeah.
But
And I think that night, because we delivered her, it was 11:17 p.m. I was just in shock. I don't, you know.
with the hormone drop, everything was average through your system.
Yeah, but I still feel like it hadn't hit me. It wasn't until the next morning.
You're on this high. Even I was on this high. You know, delivering a baby, this is what we worked for. So your brain just goes into autopilot, I feel like.
Hmm.
But it wasn't even until the next morning. Well, no, I stayed up until 4,
Yeah, you were up a lot later than I was.
calling everybody because most people in Belgium 6 hours ahead. It was it was morning already. I even woke up my dad.
Hmm.
Um, and so yeah, stayed up till 4, calling everybody, just in this high, getting through it.
Hmm.
And then came the aftermath,
Yeah.
which was, yeah, many people have experienced it. Everybody goes through it differently, but it's a beast.
Yeah.
Because you're a parent, you're a mom, you're a dad, but nobody sees it. You had the experience of labor, but you're somehow not invited to talk about it because they, the people that you share your story with, think that it's all
Yeah, I think that's one thing I've encountered a lot personally since it all happened is even just being out with friends, or we've met some new people. We've been out with a new group since this has happened. And I'll be sitting there and I just feel so disconnected in a sense because it's like, we just had a baby. Like, we're a mom and dad. And it definitely, some of the scenarios, it's just been the group of people we've been with. But it comes across my mind so much that, like, they don't know. These new people we're meeting, they don't know, they don't understand. Even people we do know and are friends with, I don't feel like they all understand, but how can you? Like, if the roles were reversed, I also wouldn't know what to do or not do or not say. But I will say it has been very hard when people don't acknowledge it.
that's the hardest. When you bring it up and they don't acknowledge it.
That's been hard.
Yeah.
But not getting too far ahead, I did want to say the day, of course, after it all happened in the hospital, there were a lot of tears from everybody, even the nurses and the doctors, you know. Um, we got some time with her that day and the night before, and they sent a professional photographer to come and take pictures of her. We got hand and footprints of her. The nurses had done photos the night before the professional came in, just to make sure that we had pictures.
Yeah.
And they made us bracelets. They went really above and beyond during that experience. And as hard as it was to leave the hospital, we did opt to leave the next day. But we had two amazing friends at home waiting for us. And that made all the difference.
Yeah.
We're not close enough to. But
Yeah.
yeah, we had called one of my best friends from college and her husband. We called them from the hospital after I was contracting, after we went back. And we told them what happened. And of course, they're at a loss for words. And they wanted to know what they could do to help. But in that moment, when we don't even know, and the call ended and they texted you like 20 minutes later saying, "Our red eye is booked. We'll see you tomorrow." And it was like that thing that we didn't know we needed, but we needed, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those moments. It's like you can't walk anymore. You're not physically injured, but walking is not an option. And that's when, yeah, you should rely on somebody else to help you out for a second. And that second meaning to do space for us. That was really important.
Mhm.
Because, yeah, we came home and we were supposed to start taking care of a baby. And sleep, obviously, is an important part of that, which we didn't have that night. So it's very easy to get into the, yeah, you need to cook. You need to still live to an extent.
Yeah.
But on top of, especially for you, the physical pain comes now the mental. And it's also mentally draining for me as a husband and as a dad to go through this. So having people over in the house was necessary,
Yeah. Especially them. I
especially
mean,
because they're the best friends that we have.
my mom and sister were also at the house for the weekend with us.
But they were also adult.
They're also grieving. And of course, our friends were as well, in a sense. They were right there at the front door, like with open arms as soon as we walked in. And they took care of us. They asked what we wanted to eat. They went out and got us sushi because that was the meal that I wanted after labor, after I wasn't pregnant anymore. They bought us dinner. They sat and cried with us as we went through the pictures that were taken in the hospital. But also, they were sharing laughs and joy with us and moments of hope, all within this crazy experience of grief.
Yeah, really remarkable. And obviously, everybody will go through this differently.
Of course.
One thing that I can suggest is don't hesitate to call somebody
Mhm.
because you will need to. Um, and then came the aftermath. So the 2 days were obviously tough. I mean, there's no turning around. Um, but then once you, at least for me, when you get back on your feet a little bit, I went through so many mental hoops. Like at first, I was like, "Oh, I will invite everybody in my house because I need you. I need you all." But then after 3 days or 4 days, I was like, "Everybody's
Yeah.
I can't stand anybody anymore." Um, so that was like switching 180, and and also how do you talk to people? Y- Yeah, if you lose a parent, if you lose a friend, you grieve because you have experiences that you won't be able to make anymore. So you grieve for what you had with them. But for a baby, it's a whole different ballgame,
It was hard because she was never here in the house with us, but I felt like I could see her everywhere.
right? Even our cat, I think, experienced that.
I really think Lily was grieving too, yeah.
She behaved very weirdly that week, the first week.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
But it was also hard because those first few days, we really had to share the news with everyone because the due date was past and people were texting and asking any update, any news, or if you've had the baby, hope you're doing well. And if not, like, hope it's coming soon. Like, people were expecting it. So, making those calls, people were picking up the phone expecting good news.
Yeah.
And so that was always also hard to break that to them.
For me though, after 20 calls, I got used to it. Sounds very unemotional, but it's one of those things, I guess, on top of the grief. It's like, yeah, let's just get over it. And that's why in the first couple of days I just called everybody because you're just going through it, break the news, uh, go through it,
Yeah.
just get it over with.
I am glad we did it that way. Like, made all the calls that first weekend because otherwise,
They would keep.
you're just prolonging the inevitable and then you're just asking for more people reaching out and then it's like all over again, you know?
Yeah, every time you call, you go in your head, you go through the whole scenario, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not a fun thing to go through every time. So it's like let's just make it the worst 2 3 days in our life,
Mm-hmm.
and make it easier after that. But next topic, the costs.
Yes, this is a big one
Yes.
because we were told that her stillbirth was unexplained. And my pregnancy was completely uncomplicated. We never had an issue. I had a great pregnancy.
Yeah.
Would love to be pregnant again. Like, I was not one of those, like, even at the end of my pregnancy, I wasn't uncomfortable. I wasn't in constant pain. I just loved being pregnant. And so, of course, we were shocked when we learned of the stillbirth, but they did all this testing afterward and they came back and they said the tests were frustratingly negative, is how they put it. And we would theorize like what could have been, what could have happened, what could have been the cause. But I was constantly like trying to figure out why, because that was the thing that was eating me up the most is the why.
Yeah, not so much for me. I've after a few weeks, I took um, what is that? How do you call it? You take happiness? No,
Peace?
you take peace. Yes, you take peace with the situation or how did this I had a potential cause in my own head, but since nobody else told me yes or no, I was like, okay, I'll take it then. Um, but then you didn't let go.
And I'm glad I didn't.
I'm glad too. But you had to do it yourself.
I did, yeah.
That's the
I
frustrating part that we're going to talk about.
yeah, I'm a PA, so I work in the medical field. I have quite some medical knowledge. I know where to look to find answers. And so I was doing all this research and trying to figure out potential causes. And in the meantime, I had been doing counseling. And my counselor one day told me that she had a client recently who had a very similar situation where she went up to term after an uncomplicated pregnancy and it ended in stillbirth. And that client had found a doctor in Yale who specializes in research on pregnancy loss and placentas. And so I went and I looked up his research, did all this reading, and in one of his research articles, he kept mentioning a small placenta. And that prompted me to figure out, like, what is a small placenta? And I looked back at Ellery's placental pathology report, and it was way too small. Like, way, way too small. I knew based on what I was seeing, it was less than the first percentile, which is insane. And so it was kind of a relief to have a cause. But the frustrating part in this was it did leave some more questions. And I really wanted to talk to our providers and talk to them about it, as could the small placenta have been the cause? Could it have been a contributing factor? What causes a small placenta? What can we do next pregnancy to monitor this? But I was having a really hard time getting someone to listen to us. I reached out to both maternal fetal medicine, who we saw after the stillbirth, and our original team, and I kept getting the response of, it's already been discussed, the placenta pathology report, the doctor has nothing to add,
Nothing
or,
seems off. Nothing's
right, or placenta pathologies are not my expertise. And I was getting so frustrated because I'm like, it's not mine either, but it's very clear if you just look at this, like it's small. Well, that aside, can we just talk about small placentas and placental size? And so that prompted me to actually reach out to this doctor at Yale, and he responded within that same day. And I got registered as a Yale patient. They requested Ellery's placental slides from the hospital so that he could look at it further. And I believe it was like a week and a half later, he sent a confirmation report back saying that, yes, her placenta was too small and it was actually in the 0.02 percentile. And he wrote in the report, this is the cause of the unfortunate stillbirth.
which is crazy. But so in the 0.02 percentile, so in the bell curve, if you're in the 50th percentile, or between what's it, 25 and 75, you
I think
consider
it's
normal,
I think it's 10 to 90 for
or even 10 to
babies.
90, you're normal.
I think so.
Okay,
I don't know for sure though.
the closer to 50
50's average.
is your average, but the more you divert from 50 in either direction, you're less average. But if you hit the last 5% on each side, I mean, then your research worth, as they would say in the medical or in the scientific world. But 0.02, I mean,
It's insane.
yeah,
So tiny. And once he actually sent that report to our doctors, and I got a call the next day asking for my availability to get an appointment. But that felt great to have confirmation of what I found.
yeah,
And it's led to, as you said, a lot. The biggest thing is it makes so much sense to measure the placenta.
yeah. It's the life-sustaining organ for fetus.
Yes, it is.
The only connection between the fetus and the mom.
Yet we don't look at it other aside from where it's located and where the umbilical cord is inserted, the placenta is not given any more look into. And that is just the normal recommendations. We don't measure the placenta routinely. But I learned that this doctor at Yale worked with his dad to create a calculation to be able to measure the placenta. And it's non-invasive, it's very simple and quick. You do it during a 2D ultrasound. It makes so much sense, and it's so easy to do. It's one of those moments of, like, why aren't we doing this then?
So yeah, it's an easy measurement. You just take 3 measurements on the placenta and you put it in this formula, which in some ultrasound machines, the formula is built in, and you just have to add measurements that you take, and it spits out the volume. But the people that are operating those machines are not trained on it, so they don't know what to measure, don't know what to put.
Yeah. I also, and the people that I've talked with about this since, they also have that dumb moment. Like, yeah, why aren't we doing this? That makes so much sense why you would want to measure the placenta. We make measurements of the baby, but why are we not measuring, as you said, the life-sustaining organ for these babies?
But even at birth, the placenta is not measured.
No.
For us it was, but for our friends that now had a baby, it wasn't for them.
Mm-mm.
We have a few friends in Belgium that just got a baby. It's not measured for them. So that's what we get into this year in trying to change all of that.
Yes. Hence our Racing Awareness campaign.
Yes.
It is all to help raise awareness for preventable stillbirths, because if Ellery's placenta had been measured, her life could have potentially been saved, because if her placenta was measuring as small as it was, which I'm sure it would have been, they would have also seen that she was outgrowing her placenta, because she was a normal sized baby. She was 7 pounds 3 ounces. So even despite that teeny tiny little placenta, she grew very well. Right. And so they would have seen she had a small placenta. They would have seen she was outgrowing it. And the recommendation would have been that I be induced early. And we could have potentially diverted the tragic loss.
Yeah. So, on that note, for 2026, we have taken on the adventure to go to 12 different locations. One each month. I will be running a marathon in each of those locations, and you will be sharing the word about measuring the placenta in certain clinics. We will try to bring the community together, bring people to the events that have experienced a similar loss, and tell people that it's an easy but necessary thing to do.
Yeah.
Because it's an awful experience, and we cannot afford to lose babies.
No, it's crazy, some of the statistics that are out there. But we have been fortunate enough to partner with a nonprofit organization for this campaign called Measure The Placenta, which is a very fitting name. And I had originally reached out to them to ask if I could utilize the resources they had on their website to share with my own health system, but also share with other OB clinics out there, because I wanted to spread the word from a medical standpoint and see if providers even knew about this, because I didn't. Now, I don't work in OBGYN, but I still didn't know about it. I didn't learn about it in school. And so they reached out and they said, absolutely. Do you want to have a Zoom call? We can talk more about it. And then I also put in there, because you were wanting to run your marathons at this point.
I had the idea to run something in this year.
Yeah.
Not tied to anything yet.
Yeah. But you wanted to do something like charitable in a sense. And so I was like, hey, also, my husband has this idea. Would you guys want to support in any way, or could you? And they said, absolutely, let's talk about it in the call. So you joined, and one thing led to another, and now they're sponsoring your runs, which is amazing. And they've done so much to help us through this whole process. Yeah. They will be promoting a lot on social media as well from their side, but they have reached out to like podcast guests for this so that we can interview for next one. So stay tuned. They have created t-shirts for us and for other people to help support. They've created a website on their page, a fundraising page. A page on their website. Yeah, thank you. A page on their website. Fundraising page.
Which we will all add in the show notes.
Yes. And so much more. They've reached out to people to help connect us with the communities that we're going to.
Yeah.
And it's just been amazing to have that kind of support and encouragement, because they have never once been like, you guys are crazy. Like, they've just been like, yes, that's an inspiring goal. We're all for it. What can we do?
Yeah. So a little backtrack on the marathons then.
Yeah.
So everybody has New Year goals. One of mine was to run a marathon in 2025. It was on in my mind for a while. I'm like, I need to run a marathon. That's one of those things I need to do. That was going. But then for 2025, I was like, all right, in Raleigh, North Carolina, where we are located, the local marathon is in November. I was like, okay, that gives me about a year to train for it. As you should. You should take time to train for it, especially if you haven't run that distance before, or even half the distance. So from January on, I had a track. So I had a race in April to do 10 miles. So that was the first milestone. And then I didn't have anything else planned until October, which was a half marathon. But funny enough, I had obviously my marathon training plan, and every single weekend I had to do a marathon and more, half a marathon and more. So a friend of mine was training for a half marathon, and his max was like 10 miles or something, and mine was like every single weekend 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 miles just as a training. So for the half marathon in October, it was like a easy peasy. The marathon, on the other hand, it's a whole different beast. It's twice the distance, but 4 times the mental drainage. But so I finished it in 3 hours, 44 and 50 seconds or something.
And you did amazing. I'm so proud of you.
It was mentally draining, I can tell you that. But as sore, as frustrated, and as crazy as it was to finish, even an hour afterwards, I was like, next year I'll do this again.
Which I was really surprised to hear you say you wanted to do 12 marathons this year.
I wanted to do something crazy.
Because you did not seem to be enjoying your marathon when you finished it. But I think that's really inspiring.
Yeah, I was glad I was done.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want to do it. It's one of those things, you go to, I don't know, paintball, and you get shot a couple times. You're like, oh, all that hurts.
Yeah.
Let's do it again. Same.
That's fair.
And so, beginning of November, that's when I ran the marathon. And then over the course of the next couple of weeks, I was like, yeah. Because originally the idea was that you would film the whole endeavor as you do on the Kiddos Diaries, but with Ellery. You guys would both cheer us on, and I would run the marathon because I had a newborn daughter. That was my new that was my underlying goal. Not sure if you remember, but the night before I ran the 10 miles, that was the first time I felt a kick.
Yeah.
So I don't truly believe in conspiracy theories, or not. What is it called? Spiritual beliefs. But that was quite a sign. So okay, let's do this. And so it changed from training for a marathon that my wife and daughter would cheer me on for. It was training for a marathon in name of Ellery. And so I had a T-shirt, Angel Dad, Ellery, I'm running this for you. And there were a few moments during the marathon that I had a emotional moment, and so it really empowered me to push through. And so yeah, then after the marathon, I was like, we need to do something for charity, a charity. I want to make an impact, and I think once every month is the max that I can put my body through at this point. So yeah, that's why 12.
Yeah, and it's going to be a team effort because while you're running your marathon, I will be documenting, as you said, for the Kiddos Diaries, which we're going to do something with.
What do you mean?
I don't know. We've had the Kiddos Diaries on YouTube for a while, but it's filled with videos that were just like for family and just for fun and just us like goofing off and doing, it's just fun to do because our family's around the world and it's a good way to stay connected. We started it after Vietnam when we traveled with your family. Though we have so many videos before that as well.
We even vlogged in Croatia when we traveled.
Right, that 3 months. So
right now it's a thing that happens every week or every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I try to put a video out there for family every week, but we're gonna try to
make it more professional. Is that what you were saying?
Maybe. I don't know. We're still just goofy in our videos. I don't think that's gonna change, and we're just not great at maybe a little more intentional about the videos because we're really bad about recording. Sometimes when we go on a trip and we're like, oh yeah, a whole day's passed and we haven't taken any videos. So maybe we'll just try to invite more people along.
In 10 years, people will look back and be like, that was the core at the time.
Yeah, right. But it's also fun because the Kiddos Diaries was really made for our kids.
That's the name.
Yes, that's why it's called the Kiddos Diaries, because we wanted to create videos for our children to look back on and see our life adventures before them, but also continuing with them. And so they have their own life adventures to look back on and keep as a memory forever.
Yeah.
Also, I will be going to local OB clinic and talking to the providers at the clinics, sharing information on the research that's out there. And I'm excited about that. I've called multiple clinics for our first stop and gotten the okay from a few of them to just drop by. And I'm hoping to hear back from some other ones this week as well. But there's a lot going on in this entire campaign.
It's so much work.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the races, besides from getting myself enrolled and paying the entry fee. We also want to be part of the race and do something during the race. If it's sharing flyers, providing like an aid station or something. So all that stuff needs to be organized, and then t-shirts for those events if people want to join and sponsor, like in the form of buying a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Reaching out to organizations, local organizations that deal with stillbirths, so we can actually bring as many people to the event as possible and make an impact.
Mm-hmm.
So not used to it, but somehow it's flowing and it's working.
It is. And I think what's really helped is how much support we've had from everybody so far.
Everybody thinks it's a good idea, so that's at least.
Yeah, I mean, everyone I've talked to about it and I've told what we're doing, they come back and they say, that's so inspiring. How can we help? Like, so many people are willing to help, even just sharing the word, which I feel like is huge. And honestly, I think I said this a while ago. I was like, even just the awareness component and bringing the awareness to these people and seeing the impact it has made on some people we've already talked to already makes it all worth it.
Yeah, definitely.
So our first stop is
Athens, Georgia. Classic City Marathon.
Yeah, how are you feeling about your first race?
Well, it's the second, but the first of the year. Very nervous. Knowing what happened the last one, how just mentally, physically draining and all this. Getting myself mentally, physically ready. Yeah, I'm gonna take a different approach. I'm not gonna run 7-minute miles and then just break down. I'm gonna take it a little slower, maybe do an 8.5, and see at mile 20 how my body is feeling, and maybe speed up after that.
Mm-hmm.
Stay the same, whatever. But I'm very excited too. It's it's. I mean, you know, I like crazy stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And so 12 marathons, they'll do it.
Yep. I guess by the time this podcast comes out, it will be a week from today
Right.
that you do your first run. And it's a little bit of a journey, this one. We are taking a couple days off prior to the marathon to drive out there and
Visit some clinics.
visit clinics. Yeah. Hopefully meet up with some people, maybe.
Yep.
We've reached out to organizations that are going to spread the word, but we would love to connect with families who've been through something similar, just in solidarity and support.
It's surprising how many people have experienced it, but as we started the conversation, it's nobody sees it.
Exactly.
It's not a physical thing that you carry with you. It's a mental thing.
Yeah. We will update you guys on the race the following week. No, 2 weeks later. We will update you guys on the race 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
2 weeks after. Yeah. So the idea is that this podcast series, each episode will come out the first Saturday of every month. And we are really excited because the next episode, not only will we be updating you on his first race and how that went, but we're going to have a very exciting guest as well.
That's the idea for every episode as well, is that we bring on a guest.
Yeah, we have been connected with individuals who have experienced similar loss and have gone on to create really meaningful impact. Yeah. And so we're really excited to be able to share other people's stories and what they've done with it, because we want to try to help spread inspiration to other families too.
That's the idea. So the next one is in Arizona. The next one is in Athens, Georgia. And I mean, it's not a surprise, or it's no secret. The other one is in Mesa, Arizona.
Yes.
Yeah, on Valentine's morning, because that's when all the marathons are run, in the morning. And then the other one, just to go 3 months ahead, is in Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Those are the first three. I'm looking forward to the one in Arizona because it's all downhill.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. Yeah. The other two are a little less flat.
Especially Asheville, I guess, right?
Yes.
In the mountains. That one we will also be taking an extra day because we were volunteering the day before to help with the event.
Also in Arizona.
Was it Arizona one too? Okay. Yeah. So a lot going on, but it's exciting. We get to travel and
All right. Let's hope we get better at podcasting.
Yeah. Well, again, first Saturday of every month, you can catch the updates, and we are going to link everything below where you can find ways to follow this journey and support.
Yep. Measure the placenta, and all goes from there. Awesome. See you next time.
Bye, guys. Yay! We did it!